Hi everyone. I want to take the next few minutes to wish each of you a very wonderful, happy Easter weekend. I know we're at the tail end of it. What I wanted to talk about in this video are some of the logistics to do with traveling either when you live with chronic pain or when you live with a physical disability. What I've found in my own life is that it requires a lot of planning in advance. And so for quality of life, it's worth being able to travel if you have the will to do so. What I mean by the will to do so is, for me personally, traveling stirs up a lot of pain. So there's the component of the suffering that needs to make the results of the traveling, that is whatever you're going to do, to be worthwhile. One of the items I wanted to talk about in terms of pain was each hospital will have an acute pain management team or an anesthetist that helps manage chronic pain in patients, for example, following surgery. If you're needing to travel and you're living with chronic pain and you're going to be away from your family doctor or whoever's responsible for your pain control, there may be some wisdom in having a doctor lined up for you to check in with and stay in contact with while you're gone. It would need to be arranged a few months in advance. And the reason I say this is part of the role of pain management is looking at the whole person. So they would want to assess your mental health and how you're coping with life. So they need to have a snapshot, sort of the before picture from the doctor that associates with you the most frequent, and also the medicines that are being regularly prescribed to you to help grasp what it is and how they can help you manage your pain. And part of this that you can do yourself would be to keep a journal of what you're taking, date, time, dose, and just brief paragraphs of any specific symptoms or the reason for taking. So if you're using an 8-hour or 12-hour pain medication, then it could be, your little paragraph would be maintenance regime, or else you could be complaining that your right knee is sore, and then you want to give it a rating from 1 to 10 to help build a history so that a doctor's able to effectively help coach you along. It's really important because the effect of pain, when it's not under control, it wears you down and it begins to affect your emotions and your mental health. So that history will help, especially someone new to your healthcare treatment, follow you for a specific period of time. The other part that I want to talk about is the actual travel. From what I can see, there tends to be 4 options available to you for travel. So one would be a car, airplane, train, and the 4th being a motorhome. You need to think through what your needs are and what your wants are. So the needs are the things that are essential for you. So if you're going about your day and you find that once an hour you need to get up and walk, your travel plan needs to involve the ability to get up and walk, or you meet with a physiotherapist and you develop some stretches that you can do while seated to help your body not become all stiff. Where I live, Via Rail Canada has been extremely good to me. They have wheelchair accessible services available throughout their network. It takes some planning, and you do need to plan ahead to access this service. But I have found train to be a really good option. It's not the speed of an airplane, but overall, when you weigh all the factors out, train has worked out well for me. There are equally options for an airplane. Again, you're needing to plan ahead. Your wheelchair would be stowed in the belly of the plane, and there's a special wheelchair to get you onto the plane and into a seat. What you need to think about is I've got a few wheelchairs here. You need to figure out either what you're going to bring with you for mobility, or if you're going to choose to rent at your destination, and if it'd be possible that some of this could already be in place before you leave your home, because you're going to need it immediately upon arrival. So the rule is that one wheelchair goes with you. Anything else you kind of need, you check with your airplane, the airport and the airplane company, the airline company, and then work your way through, and maybe even if it's your first time traveling, book yourself an appointment with an occupational therapist for the purpose of planning and the logistics that they could foresee that you need. But ultimately, if you think about your life for 24 hours, that's the set of activities that you need to replicate, and the type of equipment in your home, you're going to need that wherever you're going. The reason I brought up motorhome is that there would be the possibility of getting it set up for you and having a designated driver bring you to your activity and storing a suitable ramp on board. Again, there's a high amount of planning involved in this, but to be able to get out, to be able to live your life, to me it certainly seems that this is worth it. Even if you're not planning to travel, I would still suggest that you go through the motions on paper and have a rough idea of what you would do. So if you think about it logically, there's a bunch of stuff that can happen that's beyond your control. And when something happens that's urgent, if you don't have a rough idea of a plan in place, you're going to find that you're not going to be able to take part. And maybe that particular activity doesn't matter to you, but you're eventually going to come upon an activity that's really going to bring your morale down because you couldn't be a part of it. So the planning ahead is to help you have the best quality of life that's possible. The final component that I want to mention is that a quality night's sleep makes all the difference in the world. And I know this for myself because of what I live with each day. So I have a sleeping mask. This is my current one in this photo. I sleep much, much better with it on because it blocks out the light around me. If you're traveling and there's an underlying health condition that impacts your life each and every day as you go through your day, doing what you can to help you sleep better will make it a whole lot easier for you to deal with the traveling and to actually be able to enjoy yourself. I just wanted to mention this as something that you have control over yourself. That is, choosing to go to bed at a reasonable bedtime. What I find is that staying at a consistent bedtime, plus or minus 30 minutes, is what's best for your body, and where you don't feel run down from sleeping at one time and another time and basically ended up being jet lagged. And trying in advance to arrange a quiet place for you to sleep, or getting used to sleeping with earplugs so that you're able to in fact fall asleep and feel refreshed and be able to take part in the reason why you're traveling. Again, I know this comes down to a lot of planning, but if you break it down into manageable pieces, it is something that can be achieved. And in terms of living life, it's important that you're able to get out and do what matters to you. Thanks so much for this time that you spent with me today. Bye for now.